basically, for the uninitiated, what is it? Is it a Stephen King novel? No, that's The Mist.
No, it's a set of computing power that people can access pay-as-you-go model, access on demand, like the electronic grid or like electricity grid, whereas you just pay for what you want. That's one side of it. Then the other side is more.
And when you say what you want is storage space and access to funds.
And computing power. You could install your own applications without buying your own hardware. So if you, instead of buying a new server, you could place it online like you would your photos and run your business application from there, not for just for your own use, but also for your client's use.
Now, that would be interesting because we just came from a discussion with the guys who provide a technology service for the National Bureau of Investigation. They left all their hardware with the NBI. Now, are you saying that with a cloud, you don't even need the hardware to be physically present in the NBI headquarters?
That's true. That's the next generation provides alternatives. Now, you still need hardware.
You still need hardware. Off-site.
It could be off-site. It could be in a more centralized data center and shared resources. That conversation is more about implementation strategy and vendor change than the technology though.
Okay.
Right.
Now, your company, GlobalOne, what does it actually offer as a service?
We provide consulting, so we provide people that help clients understand their needs for business solutions, and we recommend and implement the right solution. So, for example, NBI has a computing need. You would talk to the client, understand what their need was, and recommend the right technology. We do focus though on cloud computing technology. The on-premise technology, the client-server technology is sort of previous generation.
Totally different.
Totally different. So the newer technology offers two main advantages. Its technology nature where it's open source and it's open connectivity and the way it can be shared. Secondly, the commercial model is more pay-as-you-go, low capital, upfront cost.
Now, maybe people are saying, am I using the cloud already, or I just don't see it?
Yes.
My head is stuck up in the clouds. So, give us an example, John, of everyday applications or processes that we may already be using and we're actually getting them from the cloud.
Right. Yahoo email, your Gmail, Facebook. Facebook is an application. Allows us to share photos, conversation.
You're putting all of this, uploading them to Facebook.
And you don't care what it's running on. Or know what it's running on. You just want it to work when you log in. And the right settings are there for privacy, security, and so forth. That same model is also now available for business applications. More sophisticated business logic, whether it be for accounting, client management, call centers, is also there. It's like same concept as Facebook, right? But you pay for it as you go, the function itself, and you provide more functionality tailored to your business. Now, with the business's applications online, you can tailor them. You can actually make changes. Where Facebook is pretty much defined for the way you want it, for what they're providing you. With the online applications, you can tailor them to your own business. Your own logos, your own looking fields, your own fields that you like.
How do you do that? How do you do that?
Via a web browser, primarily.
Just through a browser?
Or drag and drop development. So that there's a shift where business analysts can do more of what a developer would do before. Because if I want to create a new screen, I basically say, create a new screen, drag and drop the fields that I would want from a list, and have them. Now you could build more business logic into that with JavaScript, if you like, and so forth, to make them a little bit more customizable.
So this is why you say it's more an open source environment, because you can make changes to it as you go.
Yeah, so like mainframes were great for the past. Big computing power, somewhere, but they were very rigid. So cloud computing is a little different, where centralized computer services, but you can make differences to that.
Now, would people imagine that cloud computing means that somewhere in the country there's a server, or it can even be outside of the country? Geographically, it doesn't even have to be here.
Geographically, it doesn't need to be here, except for some regulated environments where they haven't allowed for data to be outside the country.
That's for security reasons as well.
No, they just haven't thought about it. It's really a policy change. This really needs to take place, but it wasn't available right? So only for some regulated environments. But in a lot of cases, for say NetSuite is a company that has accounting software. It's hosted in the US, but local companies are using it. ABS CBN uses it. So the difference there is obviously you're subject to the internet connectivity outside the country. There are other companies that have products inside a country. So the database and the data is actually in country in a hosted data center. In addition to that, large corporations are doing private cloud.
Private
Cloud.
So they run their own cloud system.
Yeah. So for example, very large organizations that have many subsidiaries, they will put in the new model of computing where they can share it across the subsidiaries and act as a shared service internally.
Now, for something as security sensitive, say, as private information, for people who need MBI clearances, let's go back to that example. Is the cloud trustworthy enough?
Yes. If you asked a decade ago, that was a problem. But over the last 5 years, it's matured quite significantly. A lot of large banks in the US
Something Julian Assange can't break into.
No, a lot of security.
Or Rupert Murdoch.
Well, most security breaches are done by humans. The door's left open. They're using someone else's access code. The technology now is secure enough. You still need to check some balances in place. So when someone's selecting a technology or going to the cloud, it's service level agreements and security from a compliance standpoint are key priorities.
Now, we did start by saying that there is going to be an issue with our broadband system here in this country. Does it actually affect how efficient the cloud can be for any of your clients?
Yes.
It does.
Because if there is no connectivity, it's hard to be connected to a shared.
There is some connectivity, but is it the kind of connectivity, the quality that you want to go with your cloud system?
Yes, but it does depend on the function. Right. So you can't. It's foolish to say wait until all of the Philippines is connected with high-speed broadband, because it's just not going to happen. So in different well, maybe in our lifetime.
No.
Right. But in some remote regions, right, you may need to use dial-up connections or some offline capability.
And that works.
That can work.
That
yes.
can work.
Yes. So it just the strategy for the different locations would be a little different. It doesn't mean so the way you put the cloud infrastructure where it's located may make a difference.
Now, you did mention that our own network, ABS-CBN, does rely on cloud computing and mostly for financial processes, bookkeeping processes as well. Just how much more widespread do you think cloud computing will be adopted by Filipino businesses?
Because of the low entry costs, the capital cost is quite low. So you can subscribe to a system for $20, 1,000 pesos a month. Whereas before, you may have spent $5,000 for a similar system, then try and support it. So that's a very small business scenario. We are working with some of the very large companies here, and because of the low capital cost entry point and the ability of the change of the technology allows for more innovation, and it gets going to be very widespread.
Now, do you have any competitors locally in the Philippines?
Sure. From a consulting firm, there's other consulting firms, say Accenture or HP, and those types of companies are competing in this space, but very slow to move because the financial model is different. There are, in the last 2 years, more and more vendors starting to come into the space, but it's a big market.
And that's good.
It's good. So the more people, the better, in fact, because the market is so big and it's an emerging market.
Well, we want to see, obviously, more connectivity. Not just for businesses, but maybe even for homes, for schools. The government itself, the Philippine government, how much more can it do better for e-services if it had cloud computing at its disposal?
I think if it doesn't use it, it won't deliver on its e-governance.
E-governance,
Cloud computing, I think it gives it the best chance to make a change. It's becoming an enablement platform to change because of the simplicity of having a shared stack that can be distributed. So,
now, I'm just going to ask you to close our interesting discussion because only about a week ago, we had this weird scenario where we had a communications and information commission for information and communications technology that suddenly disappeared. because the government, the president signed an EO that dissolved it. It was supposed to be in charge of overseeing the implementation of a digital roadmap for the Philippines. Somewhere along the way, who's going to do that digital roadmap? And is cloud computing, do you think, going to be a part of it?
It wasn't, by looking at that presentation, I was at the event, it wasn't explicitly excluded from it. It was open for inclusion into that roadmap. I think there's a little more education that the government requires, which we're working with the President's office to do some of that education on what cloud computing can offer. And I think it will make significant changes. The ability to share information at a portal level, very simple information that we don't have today.
So do you think the government is open to the idea but doesn't quite understand how to use it?
That's right.
That's how it simply is.
That's how it simply is. Even some large companies, it's new for large organizations here. But it's if the government in the Philippines takes on this strategy of cloud computing, it could enable them to leapfrog some other developing countries in computerization and automation.
You know, that was a favorite catchword of former President Fidel Rose.
Okay.
Leapfrogging.
Okay.
Yeah, because he understood the value of technology, applying it to the government, and hopefully, of course, this administration also becomes a little bit more tech savvy in how it offers its services to the public.
Right.
Yeah, maybe GlobalOne Solutions will be part of that.
Maybe we can.
All right, John, thank you very much for coming to Future Perfect.
Thank you.
Well, after the break, we go Nati Narwhal, I hope I said that right, and discuss why you may want Linux for your next operating system. Keep it here on Future Perfect.